What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be going over the most traded in and most traded out players who I think the best trade in for round 13 are, and just the same things we do every week. So let's start off with Lachie Neale. Now Lachie Neale is a no-brainer pick, no doubt. He started off basically 700k, now he's 577. It makes sense to get him in. He's in some good form. He copped the tag 2 weeks ago and still went 122. Besides those 2 bad games, Carlton and GWS, I believe he got tagged in both of those. He's gone 95, 100, 117, 102, 176, 124, 109, 128, 122. So Lachie Neale is seriously good, obviously. I know I've given him some sprays on my channel, but he's still averaging 110. After those 2 bad games, he's still averaging 110, and he's still going to be a top 8 mid quite comfortably, I believe. 577 is an absolute bargain for this guy. He is a Brownlow medalist, should be a 2-time Brownlow medalist, and yeah, I just think he's worth every cent at that price, and I would definitely recommend buying him. 9,256 people are bringing him in, and yeah, rightfully so. Now, Oyson Mullen is another one that's been brought in, and he's looking more likely to be dropped than not to be dropped. This is frustrating, but I think I'm in a predicament where I'm going to have to do the same thing, and it's purely because there's no other downgrade options this week unless you want to take a punt on someone like a Nat Fife. And at this point, it's not really something I want to do. So yeah, 4,777 people bringing in Mullen, and it's just because we need a downgrade option, unfortunately. So yeah, I don't mind it. I think we have to trade him in, preparing for him not to play and just to sit on our bench and just bank that cash that we brought whoever we're bringing him in for. But yeah, I think expect him not to play. Maybe later in the season he might if there's some more injuries, but yeah, fingers crossed he does play. Andrew Brayshaw, 3,827 people bringing him in. So it looks like he's over his back injury. His last 4 games, 149, 88, 134, 127. Ridiculously good 4 games. I don't see any reason not to bring in Andrew Brayshaw. I think he's a great pick. I personally would rather Caleb Serong. Now, I think if we'll talk about Serong real quick. Averaging the 114, I think he's a very safe top 4 to 6 midfielder this year. He's only had that 1 bad game when he scored 70, and then after that, he's just gone bang. 101, 146, 100, 146, 130, 109, 105, 120, 135, and then a 93 against Melbourne. I'm really big on Serong. I think he's the real deal. It is a little bit risky because, he hasn't proven that he can do it for that full season, but I think he's completely broken out now, and I think he's going to be an uber primo for quite some time now. I really rate him as a player, does everything, really the complete package, and you'll see me, my team, I'm bringing him in this week. We'll talk about my trades in a second, but yeah, Caleb Serong is my, Lachie Neale's the obvious one. If I could pick between those 2, I'd pick Neale just because of the history. Obviously, we know he's capable of doing it for a full season. But Caleb Serong, as I already have Lachie Neale, I'm going to grab Serong. Let's go back. So people are still bringing in Briggs. I don't mind it. Break even is still pretty low, negative 32. So there is a little bit of money to make. He's already gone up to 86k, which does hurt a little bit. I think he can get to 450, maybe even 500k. Provided Flynn doesn't come back, he should get to 500. I think he's playing really well. Obviously helped with a few goals. I think he kicked 2 goals, and then one of them was like a clutch goal, so it went up. He got good scaling for it. But yeah, anyone that doesn't have Briggs, it's kind of, I wouldn't say you've missed the boat, but you have missed, 85k of cash gen. But yeah. Let's get into the next one, which is Jake Lloyd. 519k. I'm personally not ready to trust Jake Lloyd. We do know he doesn't have that 100% kick-in role that he used to have. Nick Blakey takes a lot of his kick-ins, so I won't be going near Jake Lloyd. I could see why you would. Obviously he's had his bye, so he's I guess he's a good pick because if you look at the defenders, and I spoke about this in my last video, there's not really anyone. Once you got the big 5 or big 4, Dacos, Dawson, Sicily, and Stewart, I have Sinclair at 5, and then after that, who do you get? There's Luke Ryan. Yes, he's averaging 111, but he's got through an average of 87. So his role, I think he's playing more lockdown. I can't I haven't watched him close enough to really confirm this, but from what I did see, he was playing a lot of lockdown. So I don't like his role has changed a little bit. Obviously, Jack Zeebel's role's changed a bit with Aaron Hall coming back into the team and Taron Thomas coming back into the team. Yeah, so he's definitely playing lockdown. And then like maybe you grab a Sam Doherty after his bye. That's something that I would consider. 3-round average of 118, so he's actually playing quite well in a side that's doing poorly. So maybe you wait for him. But other than that, I don't really like any of the options. Caleb Daniels only doing good because Ed Richards is out. So yeah, there's really not a lot of there's not a lot of options. Let's be real. So yeah, going back into the players, Jake Lloyd's an okay pick, but I personally wouldn't go near him. Darcy Cameron is one that, see, I don't want to have to jump on him now, but unfortunately I will, just because I don't trust anyone else. I don't trust Fife, and I know Cameron does have the bye coming up. I've had a look at my buys for that round, and I think if you're okay to bring in one player from that second last bye, then do so, because the big buy that everyone's struggling with is obviously that last one. So yeah, I think if you can afford to do it, then it's okay to pull a trigger on someone like a Clayton Oliver or Darcy Cameron. However, it is, you're going to hinder that buy a little bit, and it doesn't make too much logical sense, because it's much better to grab someone from the previous buys. But at the end of the day, like, you are going to be setting your team up to keep these guys. So these are the players you want. Like Darcy Cameron's a player I want in my final team, Jake Lloyd, I don't think he is. Nat Fife, he definitely isn't. Unless he can go back to Brownlow mode. That's literally the only thing I can think. Like, imagine he goes back to 120s Brownlow mode. Anyway, that's not, yeah. I don't think that's going to happen. Jack Sinclair's another one people bringing in. I'm not a huge fan, but look, I have him, so if you want to jump on... Like, the thing is, look, how did he finish last year? Let's have a look. I actually don't know how he did last year to finish. Okay, he came in really strong. Besides that 79, after his bye, he went 118, 105, 150, 110, 133, 117, 102, 116, 111, 118. He was very good. He was one of the best players of the competition, to be honest. The thing is, I think his role has changed a little bit. Obviously, not getting all the kick-ins. Nazai Wangani Malera has taken a few. And for some reason, they're playing Sinclair in more centre bounces, which isn't actually good for him. He's not as good in the midfield as he is off the half back, which is really frustrating. And hopefully that doesn't persist. But yeah, at this point, I don't know if I would trust Jack Sinclair. He is very cheap, but he's a bit of a roller coaster this season. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of his role, so something I wouldn't really advise. But yeah, so to summarize, basically, the top 3 picks I would go is Lachie Neale, number 1. It's a no-brainer. There's a reason why he's the most traded in player this week. He's just an absolute uber premium for so long now, and why would you not get him for 577k? Break even 86. I wouldn't be super against waiting a week on him. I do think he'll cop the Connor Nash tag this week by Hawthorn. I don't think they're going to go to Dunkley. For some reason, teams just persist with Neale, and it's friggin' annoying because Dunkley is just dominating. And yeah, teams won't pay an ounce of attention to him, which is really frustrating. But yeah, I do think Neale will cop that tag, but still should probably be safe for a 90, which would make him break even. But yeah, you might be able to get him a tiny bit cheaper, maybe, but he's not going to get much cheaper than that. Then I would go Caleb Serong, 610k. Just, I think he's a real deal. Obviously, there are doubts. Can he do it for the full season? Like I said, but I think he's ready to really, really push into that Brownlow contention and All Australian form. No doubt about it. He's in All Australian form. And then Darcy Cameron at number 3. So yeah, my top 3 trade-ins would be Neale, Serong, and Cameron. In terms of trading out, now I did speak about Jack Siebel and Harry Sheezel. Their roles have both changed with the inclusion of Taron Thomas and Aaron Hall. It's frustrating. It's a real 50-50 on whether these guys are worthwhile keepers. I don't think they are personally. I just think their roles are dead, unfortunately. And at this point, we just got to jump off. And not many teams, or not every team, is going to have the luxury to do that, which is super annoying. But yeah, I'm pretty content with jumping off. I did speak about it in my last video, but if you look at the own percentages in the top 1%, Zeeble and Sheezel, Sheezel's at 80% and Zeebel's at 48%. So getting off those two gives me a pretty big jump on the competition if things go my way. and they do still keep those roles that they have right now. So yeah, I'm willing to take a risk on that. It is definitely risky, only having the 7 trades left, not a lot of money in the kitty. My plans now are to obviously swing Dunkley down here and get Clayton Oliver at M8, and then I'll need one more defender, and I'm not sure who that will be. At this point, I really don't know. It might be Sam Doherty after the buys, but he's going to be expensive. So we'll wait and see with that. We might have to go a value option, but I think we've got enough cash to get him there. Obviously, Briggs on the bench is going to be like 450k. It's almost, it's 2 trades to Clayton Oliver in round 15. And then we also have Humphrey to cash in as well, which is, yeah, he's going to make a lot of money. He's going to be like 450 probably. And he might not even be a trade out, until he has a bad game. I mean, he's playing really well in the midfield. He's had 2 games where he's played in really hard conditions for a kid. Humid, stinking hot weather for an 18-year-old kid, or however, I think he's 18. And yeah, playing in the midfield for first time of the season, it's a big difference in endurance, that midfield compared to the forward role. And he's had to have relatively low time on ground, and it's fair enough. So I think even when he gets back to normal climate games, he actually could even go bigger. So it's scary. He looks really good. But yeah, I think Humphrey, I don't know if he's a keeper, but yeah, for now, he's not worth trading. So I have to think about these things. And yeah, hopefully a D6 pops up, because I think I've seen other people talking about it as well. And there's not really anyone that we want, unfortunately. Maybe everyone jumps back on the Ridley train. I don't know. But yeah, in terms of my trades this week, pretty content on the Mullen, Serong, and Cameron inclusions for Zeeble, Davey, and Sheasel. Davey's a dead rook anyway, so if I'm trading Mullen in, it's just dead rook for dead rook, and I'm banking 70k, which allows me to get Serong instead of a different primo. So I did want to pay up and get this guy, because I really have a lot of faith in him. He does everything, man. He does everything. He's got the outside game, the inside game. He can kick goals. He's just an absolute jet, and seriously underrated as well. So yeah, and Darcy Cameron obviously has that ruck roll back. I think he scored like 100 points in 3 quarters or something. He's got a crazy ceiling. I think he'll do okay this week. I don't think he'll have the best game against Gordon Grundy, but hoping for like an 80 to 90 this week, because it is obviously a tough matchup. But yeah, they're my trades for the week. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. If you are new to the channel, please feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. We're getting close to 1k now, so that will be good once we hit that. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.